for us all to have you in our show, in our podcast.
It's my honor and my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to your show. I feel very privileged to talk to you, especially that you are in Islamabad.
And I am privileged to talk to you, especially because you are in Jerusalem, the holy city
Yeah,
to all the religions, at least all the
that's
Islamic religions.
that's correct.
And today's topic is very interesting for me. This is about a Sufi Tarika, Tarika Ibrahimiyyah, right?
That's correct. The
Uh,
way of Abraham.
First of all, Dr. Shelley, please let us all know about a little about yourself, what you do, what is your academic background, where you born, where you lived, now where are you living. Then we will talk about the Tarika and its background.
Okay. So I'll start with where I was born. I was born in Haifa, which is a northern city in Israel. My father family is many generations here in the land, and my mother, she's coming from Turkey. Um,
Yeah.
that's about myself. I studied educational counseling. I'm a counselor. I'm a psychoanalyst by
Mm.
my profession. I have a license on counseling, and I studied after I did my master's in counseling and environmental studies. I went to Bar Ilan University, where I studied ethics and philosophy, Jewish philosophy, especially I specialized on the issues of love, Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, and Messianism. So my PhD is actually in theology and love, which is,
That's great.
well,
I'm honored to meet a person who has done his her PhD in love.
yeah, especially
That's
that
interesting. That's interesting.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now, please, yeah,
I didn't, I didn't presume to know and to really be like an authority about love. I said this is not possible because
yeah,
we all were created by love. So it's like,
that's
how
very
can
true.
one? So,
That's very
anyways,
true.
yeah.
And this Tarika Ibrahimiya is very interesting for me to learn about that people from different religious backgrounds, from Islamic background, Muslims, Christians, Jewish people, they all are there in this Tarika and share the background and history of this Tarika, when it formed, who started it, and how it's working.
Tarika Ibrahimiyyah, the Way of Abraham, started in late 1999 with an initiative of actually three people who are rabbis. Um, One is Professor Avi Elkayam, he's also a rabbi. The other one is Rabbi Fruman. He died, the late Rabbi Fruman, and Menachem Fruman. And the third one is Rabbi Roberto Arbiv, whom you're going to talk to soon, right?
Yeah, yeah, on
And
Saturday.
yeah, and the three of them were looking for a way to create a movement of peace, which is not political, but rather spiritual.
Hmm,
They all were motivated religiously
hmm,
um, to get to know Islam
hmm,
and to make peace with our Muslim brothers through studying mystical texts.
hmm.
And they were looking for teachers, which was not easy because not everyone can commit themselves to drive once a week and teach people who know nothing about Sufi Sufi mysticism, really. We wanted to understand the Hebrew mystical Sufi texts
Hmm.
of 14th century, 16th century, actually even earlier,
Hmm.
um, written by Rabbeinu Bachaye ibn Pakuda, by Rabbeinu Abraham ibn Maimon, the son of Maimonides, and texts that were found from in Safed, 16th century, which I studied the 16th century in Safed and Tzfat. And finally, there was a sheikh, a Qadiri
Hmm.
sheikh from in Galilee. His name is Abdel Salam al-Manasra, and he was willing to teach us. He dedicated a lot of time, he and his family, to
Hmm.
come to Tel Aviv. At that time, we gathered at the home of Marina and Roberto Arbiv, the rabbi, which I mentioned, and his wife, Dr. Marina, and Rabbi Roberto Arbiv. We met in their house, home, and we studied there weekly. And Sheikh Manasra would come and was teaching us. It was very, very generous. Indeed, until this very day, we enjoy the spiritual guidance of the Manasra family. And Manasra, his son is married to the daughter of the great Sheikh Hashem Baghdadi, who was the
Hmm.
Sheikh of Al-Aqsa,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
Qadri Sheikh,
Yeah.
Hashem al-Baghdadi, the great Sheikh. And we study in almost every conference that Tarika Ibrahimiyyah have. We study the teachings of Sheikh Hashem Baghdadi. We have one scholar within us. His
Hmm.
name is Dr. Khalid Aburas, who did his PhD on the teachings of the Sufi teachings of Sheikh Baghdadi. So, mm,
This
did
is
I
a little
answer?
about Tarika Ibrahimiya.
This is about the background. Well, it's really like I'm trying to
Yeah.
encapsulate the 20 years, but
Yeah. It's a journey of
now
20 years now.
it's a way, yeah, it's a journey of 20 years, and then we met in Jaffa, and then we met in Jerusalem, and then we meet in near Netanya, we met in Nazareth for conferences, we met in Akko. Uh, in the journey, we had Abdelaziz al-Bukhari, who is a
Hmm.
Naqshbandi, the
Hmm.
late Abdelaziz Bukhari.
Yeah.
He was teaching us as well. He
Hmm.
joined the journey, and so we were very privileged with the Naqshbandi teacher,
Hmm.
and we are in contact with with the Abdelaziz Bukhari's family.
So have you developed any Sufi center for Tarika Ibrahimiya? Is it there or
Not yet.
okay?
I mean, this is what I'm trying to do with my colleagues.
Hmm.
We are trying to establish a Sufi center because we have connections with Sufi groups
Hmm.
in Turkey, in
Hmm.
Albania,
Hmm.
in America.
Hmm.
Actually, Sheikh Rassan Manasra,
Hmm.
he's also our Sheikh. He's the son of Manasra, Sheikh Manasra. He went to America with
Hmm.
his family, and he established there
Hmm.
some Sufi work. He's Qadiri, but
Hmm.
he's considered to be our chef as well for us
Hmm.
because he's teacher for us. Um, so people come and they want to see us, and we have delegations. So we need to have a center, and also for Israel we need a center because our members come from Eilat, which is the southern city,
Yeah.
and they come from El Tashacha, which is near Kiryat Shmone, which is very north,
Hmm.
upper Galilee.
Hmm.
So we do need, and actually from Golan we have members.
Hmm.
So we need a center.
That's right. What is
Yeah,
the strength of?
inshallah,
Yeah,
inshallah,
inshallah,
we will soon
inshallah.
have a
There will
center.
be
Allah, Allah.
a Sufi center in Israel. for Tarika Ibrahimiya soon, inshallah. Tell me, Dr. Shelley, what is the strength of Tarika Ibrahimiya in numbers? How many members you have in your circles right now?
Since we don't have a center, then we don't have yet the activists who live in the center, but we have like a plan of 10 to 15 people to hold the center, to the logistics of such an educational center. Um, in our Facebook, we have like, I think, 800 or so members. In our mailing list, our members are like 1,000 people. But the impact or the effect of the Tarika is beyond the numbers of people, because Sufi life is not so extravagant. It's not about really the numbers. It's uh, it's a bit yeah, we don't propagate
Yeah,
our
I can
work.
understand that. I can
Yeah, it's
understand that.
more an
And I
inner
agree that
work.
Sufi Tariqa is not about the numbers. I was just
Right.
there was a curiosity because I live in Pakistan. You live in Israel, so we have so much information gaps that I wanted to learn about what the numeric strength of Abrahamic Tariqa, and that will reflect the popularity of Abrahamic Tariqa in the masses. So you have Jewish people, you have Christians, you have Muslims all together in Abrahamic Tariqa, right?
We have mainly Jewish members, and
Okay.
we have Muslim teachers and
Okay.
some Muslim members. Um, I forgot to mention another very important teacher of us, Dr. Sheikh Omar Rais. He died last year.
Hmm.
He's from the Shaziliya, yeah, Yasrutiya. We have many teachers, Muslims
Okay.
teachers, but we are Israeli Sufi way.
That's great.
So, and
And this
of
is
course,
pure Israeli Sufi way. This is pure Israeli Sufi way because
it
it
is
was just
pure.
it is just started in Israel in 1999, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
the origin is Israel.
yeah, it's an
Hmm.
Israeli tarika. It's a
Yeah.
Jewish, and we have members. We have Muslim members. We have
Hmm.
Christian members, but we have even Buddhist members. But
Hmm.
it's a Israeli tarika.
It's Israeli tariqa. That's
Yeah.
interesting to know. That's
And
very
we are
interesting.
looking for our Jewish roots within Sufism,
Hmm.
because there was a Sufi Jewish way. There
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah. Still,
And
the Kabbalahs they are inclined towards Sufism, right?
the Kabbalah, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
They are
the more we
inclined to.
study,
Yeah.
the more connections we see with the
Yeah.
between Sufism and the Jewish Kabbalah. But as we just said, mysticism does not propagate itself. So
Yeah.
you really have to dig in. And
True.
the more you dig, the more you find. And the more you go with the journey, the more you get to know there was Tarika Ibrahimiyyah in Damascus
Hmm.
about 70 years ago. I mean, the situation in the Middle East was not easy
Yeah.
for
So
Sufim.
so how you like mm, I would love to know more about the social aspects of your Tariqa Ibrahimiya. How people how they interact with you, how they react when they come to know that there is a new Tariqa, Israeli Tariqa, Tariqa Ibrahimiya is there in placed by a group of Sufi followers, and do they accept the idea very warmly or they resist the idea? How is in the society you?
In the
Yeah.
beginning, people were treating us as we are Islamizing ourselves,
Okay.
as if as we are weirdos, like
Hmm.
what we study the Quran, while we say the Fatiha. in our
mm,
gatherings. We do what is this? Not everybody would join the zikr.
yeah.
Some people were like, in the beginning there was a lot of
Mm,
suspicion, and people were suspicious.
mm,
Um, but and then about 9 years ago,
mm,
uh, the young people, and with the help of some of the Ibrahimiyyah
mm.
sheikhs, they started the initiative of the Sufi Festival,
Okay,
and the Sufi Festival became like 3,000 people gathered in
that's wonderful.
even more. I mean, there was
That's
no
wonderful.
place there, and there was no place. I mean, more people wanted to come.
Mm,
So it in a at the last 10 years, I would say uh, the Israel Sufi way became a culture, a
mm,
spiritual interest for many.
mm.
Of course, not everybody is like going deep, but we had in the Sufi festivals the zikrs of hundreds of people.
That's very great. That's very great.
Yeah, yeah.
And of
Mm.
course, you must be having some resistance from Islamic circles because, as Jewish thought that you are bringing something Islamic in their tradition, the Muslims must thought like, okay, they are intervening in Islamic teachings and they are trying to encroach inside. So suspicion was, I guess, from the both sides, right?
Yeah, actually, I would say that our Muslim brothers, they were kind of in the beginning, they were kind of offended, like as
Yeah.
if as we were uh, stealing
Hmm.
their way.
Hmm.
And yeah, so some of them, but they came back to us. But some of them went and they studied the Islamic, tradition, not the
Hmm.
Sufi tradition, because they wanted to say, they're not like only Sufis going with the
Hmm.
Jews, but I think when you really love your brothers,
Yeah.
then yeah, okay, it's the we are very thankful for the
Hmm.
teachings. We are
Hmm.
very thankful for the spiritual guidance.
Hmm.
We are very happy to know
Hmm.
the Quran. It's
Hmm.
so divine. And
Hmm.
really, Muhammad Rasulullah, we learn
Sallallahu
so
alaihi
much,
wasallam.
we grew up so much.
Hmm.
So, yeah, okay. People are offended because we took the Sufi
But
way.
then they started to realize, okay, they are not intervening in our domain. They are just spreading the love. They are understanding what is the Islamic mysticism is all about, and they are just making a blend of Islamic and Jewish mysticism. So it was fascinating. But still, you gone through hard times, right?
Yeah, especially our teachers were
Mm,
going through. I
mm.
mean, Sheikh Bukhari was murdered
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
10 years ago, and
Oh my goodness.
he was there was hostility in his neighborhood, in his in East Jerusalem, because he was teaching us. And Omar, Sheikh or Dr. Omar Rais, he died. He was 60 years old, less. I think he was 59 when he died,
Mm,
and he died. He didn't have easy life either in Akko,
mm,
because he would let us gather in the Nur al Nur. We had the Nur al Nur holiday, like
mm,
we
mm,
study together the Festival of Light, the Jewish Festival of Light, and the Nur al Nur. Uh, So he also had a strong opposition, but our teachers, they really knew that this is the right way of love
Yeah.
and peace, and we have to end.
One
It's
of
not a
my great
political
friend,
issue.
one of my great friend, Dr. Edje Between from Netherlands, he used to say that mysticism is the essence of all religions.
Uh-huh.
Sufism is the essence of all religions. This is not tagged with one religion. This is not
Yeah.
property of one religion. Mysticism and spiritualism belongs to every single human, not every single religion.
And because of that, it is a common denominator indeed.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is the meeting place where where the enemies
yeah.
can meet and see how, how this is a common denominator between them all.
That's
And
very right.
to meet in Allah, to
Yeah,
meet in God. I mean, this is the best, to be gathering in human beings, as human beings, to gather within our love to God. I mean, this is really the ultimate.
that's right.
So the people of the Sufi people, I mean, they know this is correct
Yeah,
because it's 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 the shorter way, the shortest way, indeed, to make peace within nations, within civilizations, within people. So our people are committed to
yeah,
what they do,
yeah. I can understand and I can
and
feel that right now because when I
and you
came,
get the bonus. You get the bonus. You study so much,
hmm,
and you get to understand things, and you get great teachers.
hmm,
Really, I mean, I can't. I can't exaggerate.
hmm,
I really want to praise Sheikh Abdel Salam Nasra and his family, and Sheikh Abdelaziz Bukhari, who died,
yeah,
but still he was a great teacher, and Sheikh Omar Rais, who died, but he was a great teacher.
yeah.
And also
And the
in
level of
Turkey,
commitment is great with look at Sheikh Abdulaziz Bukhari and his level of commitment that he was killed because he was teaching Sufism to Jewish
and
community.
love. He was teaching love. He was
That's
teaching
it.
the
Yeah,
love, the Sufi way of love.
yeah,
That's the only thing he was teaching. He was
yeah,
teaching us love, and he died
yeah.
because of this, because he was teaching love.
This is so unfortunate and condemnable that people just don't tolerate others just because they are teaching love, they are teaching Sufism to another community. And this is I don't have words to condemn this. I don't have words to condemn this. How was Sheikh Bukhari? How was his
Oh,
personality?
he was full of love.
Hmm.
He was full of love. And he knew he has a mission. I remember once he was invited by, I think it was the king of Morocco. Anyways, he was invited to a peace conference in Morocco.
Hmm.
And at that time, he had a position within I think the Spanish or the Swiss embassy, because he worked in two embassies in his lifetime.
Okay.
Uh, so it was in one of these embassies, and he came to the embassy where he worked, and he said, "Look, I have to go to a peace conference." And they said, "No, we need you here. You can't
Hmm.
just go to a conference. We need you." And he said, "No, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. I am a
Hmm.
sheikh, and I have to go. It's a peace
Hmm.
conference. It's my mission. It's
Hmm.
not my mission to work here. My work is my work. I respect you. I work." But and he went to Morocco to the conference, which was a very
Hmm.
important conference. And when he came back, they fired him from the embassy. So he found
Okay.
out a work in another embassy
Hmm.
because he was very skillful. And his wife, Sheikha Hala, she's a good friend of us. She's teaching us now. Um, she stayed in the compound, which is in East Jerusalem,
Hmm.
and
Sheikh Buhari has a son, right?
he has a son, which will be, which is, yeah, nominated as,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I guess I
And
know
he has
him.
a daughter,
Okay,
two daughters.
okay. That's great. And that's sad too. That's sad too. So, how you think that Tarika Ibrahimiya will move on?
I, before we start, we continue with the Tarika.
Yeah,
When I just, it came to my mind to tell something about Sheikh Bukhari. You know, Sheikh
sure.
Bukhari, he was running away from his destiny. He didn't want to be a sheikh, actually. So he went to America,
Hmm.
and he just wanted to have, American small nice life.
Hmm.
And but then people from the building would
Hmm.
come to him with their problems, to solve their spiritual problems.
Hmm.
So he started to speak about love, about relationships, and then he find out that he's working full-time job as a sheikh
Hmm.
without people knowing that he's a Sufi sheikh.
Hmm.
So he realized you know, the way God was teaching him. So he came back.
Yeah,
Uh, so I just want to say that when we have to do something, we have to do it.
yeah. That's very true. That's very true. How
So
you
with the
think,
Tariqa,
yeah, with the Tariqa and spreading it, the teaching of Tariqa is, I mean, the teaching of Tariqa, how you think that it will spread, what tools and means you are using to spread the message of love, peace, and harmony.
okay. So the first thing we do is we gather. We gather.
Okay.
We study. We spoke about that. We have
Yeah.
we celebrate certain holidays, um, like the Festival of Lights, Hanukkah,
Yeah.
like Lag BaOmer, which is the festival of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Um, we sometimes gather for weekends, like we
Okay.
do seminar for the whole
Okay.
weekend. In each gathering, inshallah, we hope to have to be able to do a zikr.
Hmm.
We study in each gathering.
Hmm.
Um, And this is one way that we do from the beginning.
Hmm.
Another thing we do is we meet with sheikhs from Turkey, from Albania. Some of them come here. Usually they come here and then we go visit them in their land. Um, Another thing that we started to do some years ago, not so many years ago, about 5 years ago, uh, Professor Avi Elkayam, Sheikh
Hmm.
Manasseh, and Rabbi Roberto Arbiv,
Hmm.
they worked and together to compose, we call it Sidur, it's a book of prayer. And
Okay.
within this book, they put together Hebrew prayers, Arabic, Muslim prayers in Arabic, and also in English.
Hmm.
So this is it's called Adonai Shalom, the
Hmm.
Lord of Peace.
Hmm.
Actually, I should, it's in the other library, in the other
Okay.
room. Uh, so we have a book
Hmm.
of prayers, which is specific for the Tarika Ibrahimiyyah.
Hmm.
Uh, and following this initiative of the Book of Prayer, which is a great initiative, really. I mean,
Hmm.
imagine that. Following that, Professor Avi El-Kayam established a publishing house, which is IDRA, called
Wonderful.
IDRA, and it's really so creative and so
Hmm.
many Razali and Ibn
Hmm.
Bajana. And, uh, every is so creative because Professor Avi El-Kayam has, I think I'm his 23rd PhD student, doctoral student. I mean, I did my PhD under
Mm,
his guidance. He was my
mm,
tutor, and I think he has like at least 30 PhDs, people who he was teaching or
mm,
guiding.
mm,
So everyone is bringing up now
mm,
the culture of the academic culture
mm.
is really coming up live now.
That's wonderful.
So that's
That's
another
wonderful.
thing.
That's wonderful.
Um,
And
yeah.
tell me about your festival, Sufi Festival. I am a person of festivals. I like the festivality.
So
I
next
love
time
it.
when you come, you should come for the festival, for the Sufi
Sure,
festival.
sure, sure.
The Sufi festival is usually for 3 days.
Okay.
We have academic part, and
Okay.
we have more the experience like the dancing,
Mm,
and there is a symposium, a
mm,
major symposium
mm,
where intellectuals, Sufi intellectuals come
mm,
from international scene.
mm.
Um, I would say that the Sufi festival people are like the Daudia. Do you know the Daudia?
Yeah.
Are you? So it came to me in one festival that actually uh, I'm from the Tarika Ibrahimiyyah. I'm a
Yeah.
teacher within the Tarika Ibrahimiyyah, but I realized that the people in the Jewish Sufi festival, yeah,
Yeah.
they without them knowing it,
Mm,
they are Daudia because their way is through singing,
mm,
dancing, and this is the
mm.
way of David, King David,
Yeah.
of Nebi
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
So I told them, you are actually renewing the Daudia.
Mm,
So if you ask me what is to describe the Sufi festival in Israel, I would describe it as a Daudiya festival.
mm,
So whoever is Daudi,
mm,
or belongs to Tariq al Daudiya,
mm,
is should come to the Israeli Sufi festival
mm. That's wonderful. That's
because
wonderful.
it's really reviving a way of David.
Do you know that
I
we
mean,
have a culture of singing in subcontinent's Tarika Chishtiya? It's
yes,
it's
the
yeah, the
Kawalia,
Kawali, the
yes,
Kawali. Yeah, it is something
yes,
very wonderful and very,
um,
very deep and very, very deeply touching thing. And
yes,
it is always wonderful to hear them singing Kawalis and chanting about it. That's a
yeah,
wonderful experience. I have
yeah.
been with the Universal Sufism. I have been connected with them. This Universal Sufism, they call it Inayati as well. Do you know about them?
In Ayatia,
Yeah, Inayati. They
oh,
are based in Holland, and it's the tariqa of Pir Inayat Khan.
oh, Pir Inayat Khan, of course I know in
Yeah.
Holland. I met them.
Oh, really?
Actually, 40
Pir.
years ago,
Ah.
40 years ago, before it was established here, the Tarika
Mm-hmm.
Ibrahimiyyah, I was in Holland in
Okay.
the 80s. I was
Okay.
participating in the One World Poetry Festival and in
Mm.
Poetry International because I'm a poetess.
Ah,
And
wonderful.
so I was part of this international circle of poetry.
Mm.
And my friends, one day, my friends from Holland, from Amsterdam, they
Yeah.
took me to a gathering of Pir Inayat Khan.
In
And
Kotwijk, I
it was
guess.
in,
Kotwijk, the small town. It
uh,
was a
uh,
small town or Den Haag?
no, it was no, in Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam
No.
city. Okay.
Yes, I lived in Amsterdam. I
Okay.
lived no, Poetry International, which I
Yeah.
participated in, was in The Hague. But my friends were all in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And I went with my friend. Now he's a professor of sociology. And he took me to a Pir Inayat Khan gathering, and it was great. And I remember, I bought a poster of Pir
Hmm.
Inayat Khan, and I had it in my home here in this home for
Wonderful.
many years, 40 years ago.
Ah,
I'm
that's
talking
great.
about the 80s. Yeah,
Yeah.
so this was before the Tarika Ibrahimiyyah,
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
years before.
Because they also believe in the spirituality and the mysticism without the boundaries of religion, and they follow the spiritualism and mysticism as spiritualism and mysticism, not as a religion or religious practice. So they don't club it together. So
So, can I ask you a question?
yeah, please.
What Pir Inayat Khan, because at that time I was totally ignorant
Yeah.
about. My heart went with the seeker, and
Hmm.
I loved the messages. But I didn't know anything. What Tarika is Pir Inayat Khan?
Chishti.
Oh, he's a Chisti.
Pir Inayat Khan was a Chishti.
Ah,
He was from Indo-Pak before partition. He was from, and now he's buried in Delhi, the capital of India. His disciples and his grandson now, Pir Hidayat was his son who passed away 2 years back, and now his grandson Pir Zia Inayat, he is living in USA and running the whole system of this Inayati spiritual order in his own way. And there are two mm, components of or two different kind of outlets of Pir Inayat Khan's spiritual way. One is in one is being led by his grandson Pir Zia Inayat Khan.
so the Inayati is actually the Zawiya created by Pir Inayat Khan.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. I Yeah, I want to pay gratitude for the Inayati then.
So now tell us a little about the other Sufi tariqas which you have around you. Like you
So the
told us
Naqshab,
about that there are Naqshbandis in.
yeah, we have Naqshbandi members.
Are you?
We have
No, no.
within is
I'm
we have
not talking.
Naqshbandi.
I'm not talking about the Tarika Ibrahimiya. I'm talking about the other tariqas which you have in Jerusalem, which you have in Palestine, which you have in Israel.
Okay, so it's like this.
Yeah.
In Tarika Ibrahimiyyah, we have
Mhm.
members that are Jewish Naqshbandi who were initiated by Sheikh Nazim in Cyprus, and they
Okay.
went with Sheikh Abdul Aziz Bukhari to
Hmm.
Cyprus. And then Sheikh Nazim said, you should follow Abdul Aziz Bukhari, Sheikh Abdul Aziz
Hmm.
Bukhari. He is your Sheikh. And on the way back from
Hmm.
Cyprus, because they're
Hmm.
Jewish, Sheikh Bukhari told them that they should be members of Tarika Ibrahimiyyah.
Hmm.
So this is one thing that we have. Another thing that we have is we have like Rafai,
Hmm.
Tarika Rafai, but the son of the Sheikh, or the Rafai Sheikh, he decided to be Shazili.
Okay.
So it's fluid kind of. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
It's normal. It's normal.
yeah. And I asked him why.
Hmm.
Why did you move? And he said, uh, because with the Shazili, love is very clear that love is the way.
Hmm. Well, it's his thought, and we should respect his thoughts. He has the freedom of deciding what path he likes to follow. And on the end, all paths of Sufism go in same direction towards a divine one.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shelley. I am really thankful, and there are my best wishes for you, my prayers for you, and especially to establish a Sufi center. I wish and I pray that sooner the better you establish a Sufi center in Jerusalem. And I would love to visit your Sufi center. I would
Yes,
love to visit
please,
your
you will
Sufi
be our
festival.
guest. Yes,
Inshallah.
please.
Inshallah, very soon.
Inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
being with
you.
us.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.